What's going on? Welcome to the DI and Doc series. My name is Zach. I'm with my partner Sly right here, and today we're going to talk about in this podcast. We're going to talk about all things about finance, relationships, and opportunities. And one of the first things I want to cover is me being in the service, the military, for this long, and I struck an idea of how do wealthy people keep their money throughout generations? And just one day I just started to pay attention and look and I start to look at portfolios and I start to ask my question. I started to ask questions like to Sly and to whoever I want to talk to, like, how do we build generational wealth while in the military? Because if you think about it, all wealthy people started from somewhere at the bottom. And and this is where we're going to get into of for all branches where you can start at and where we can look into. So we're going to talk about a couple subjects, but we're not going to expound too deeply. That's for the series down the line. But we're just going to hit on a couple topics that we feel like can help us service members a lot better and put us in a better direction. Now I want to ask you, Sly, like, one of the first things I saw, what almost everybody wealthy, they had a real estate portfolio. And I say, what do real estate means to you?
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna look up online and see what does the definition of real estate.
Okay.
So let's look at it right here. All right, so one of the simple definitions of real estate is a piece of land and the property, such as a house, office building, apartment, strip center, or warehouse, that sits on it, right? So from my understanding, real estate could be either the structure or the land, based off what it's saying right here off Google, right? So we're going to use Google right now in order to kind of get a better understanding, right? These structures can be both above and under the ground. So when you talk about real estate, based off this, in my opinion, real estate carries a whole different aspect to it. If you're talking about a piece of land, which could be, the grass in front of your house,
Yes.
or you're talking about a structure, right? That's what it's kind of clearly talking about, as a structure.
Yes.
My thoughts is, why is real estate so important? Why is structure so important?
I believe, in my opinion, how structure is so important is it's hard brick. Meaning, when you invest in something that's hard brick, that means it's going to be around for a long time. And as we know, if you're following the market or if you're not, real estate always appreciates. Granted, we got the market. Granted, it goes up, it goes down. But real estate at the end will always appreciate in value. And one of the things we want to talk about is equity. So what I want to ask Sly is, like, how can equity, being a homeowner, how can equity can help, let's say, the honest service member out for future endeavors?
Good point. So let's look at what equity actually states as a definition.
Well, while he looks up that, I'm going to give my personal opinion of equity. My personal definition of what I see is equity is something like, say, if it's the value of my home, being a homeowner, appreciates. Like, I bought it for $400,000, but it appreciated $500,000. I have $100,000 in equity. Now, and I feel like with that equity, that $100,000, you can do a lot with it. But before we jump into that, we go give the actual definition of equity, of what you can and what you can do with it. So that's the big thing. It's just you have to know what are you doing. The thing is, a lot of service members don't know. A lot of service members don't know, and we're trying to educate. So what is equity, Sly?
All right, so equity, based off this definition, is the difference between how much your home is worth and how much you owe on your mortgage, right? So in my opinion, equity is basically what the value is, right, and what you owe. So if your value is $500K, right? but you only owe $400K. So now you got $100,000 in equity. Now, is that truly liquid dollars? You know what I'm saying? Where you can touch it or feel it and rub up on it? Or is that some stuff that, you see what we call like in accounting numbers? You know what I mean? So what do you think that is? Is it liquid dollars, or is it just some fictitious number that people talk about?
I mean, it's 50-50. I think it's some part in accounting, but I really think it may be liquid to a certain point because you don't know the taxes on it, which we're going to cover later. But it's just like, can we really touch this money, or can we transfer it somehow? So I don't think it's liquid. I think it's all digital.
Okay.
Meaning saying, hey, I have this much, but can I pull it out in cash? That I don't know. But can we transfer it to purchase something else or get a check from the bank that we got a loan with? As many things as possible. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, that's what I think.
So from my understanding, I got a partner that flips houses or whatever, right?
Okay.
So what my partner did that he's a long-time service member, and what he used to do was he would go and refinance his house based off the new appraised value of it.
Yes.
And then they would cut him a check, and then he'll take that check and then he'll go put a down payment on another house. So in my opinion, depending upon how you finesse it, you can go ahead and get liquid money, a check from a bank or whatever the case may be. And then you take that money and then you go and utilize it for whatever you want to utilize it for. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that equity piece in the real estate game.
Okay. Then, we speaking on equity. I'm getting a better clarification of it. So equity, you're saying it could be a liquid piece. Now, what is cash flow another way we can generate liquid from real estate as well?
Now you got a good point on that one. So cash flow, based off my experience, once again, is just the fact that you have some type of asset, right? And let's just say for the sake of real estate, that's an asset, right? Mm. So you got a house and you're renting it out to somebody,
okay,
right? And that person is paying you a rental amount of money.
Okay.
So breaking it down in hustlers' terms is, you got somebody giving you cash, somebody giving you currency, in order to utilize something that you own, right? And if that's the case, then that cash that you're getting will be that cash flow, right? Long as you, and let me backtrack a little bit, but as long as the amount of what the property is worth, say the mortgage, and you're getting the mortgage amount plus some, right? So when you get the mortgage amount and plus some, now that plus some, that difference is where that cash flow comes into play.
So let's hone in on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying if you rent something out, you get the mortgage, then some. Now, in some situations, depending on the market, you're probably going to have to break even. Meaning you're probably going to just receive the mortgage and that's it. But due to the area or the high demand or the low demand, you got to play your cards right. And by saying that's cash flow. That's cash flow through a rental property. And that's many things. And just to touch on that, you're probably like, how do we jump to cash flow in rental properties? It's a lot of service members out here. What they do, they buy a asset, which is a house or real estate, at every duty station.
Good point. Good point. Because what happens, right? You have the PCS or PCA or all these other different acronyms. And what that actually means is you're transitioning and moving from one duty station to the next, right?
Okay.
So as you move from one duty station to the next, you're looking for housing, right? So if you're looking for housing from one duty station to the next, and all of us have been in that position before, that have worked for this governmental organization.
Yep.
That, they say, hey, look, you got to go, so you got to go. So when you go somewhere, you have a choice to stay within their housing market where they have, right? Which is considered base housing or privatized housing or however you want to cut it, right? But what they do is they take away that money that they give you for housing, what we call BAH, basic housing allowance, right? So when they take away that money, they put you up in a place, right? So in actuality, they are funding your opportunity of staying somewhere, right? But if you take that same cash and you find you somewhere to stay, which, like we talked about, real estate, then you have the ability to navigate those financial waters a tad bit better, right? So why should I spend, my whole BAH on a place, right? Because that's what they do. They take your whole BAH.
Take every dime.
Right. So why would I want to spend it, to stay in something that they give me when I can take that money and go buy the shit that I really want?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And get the space that I really want and get the neighborhood that I really want.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So then I can take that money. Now the benefit of having that money is they really are just giving you money to go buy shit. Go buy the stuff that you want, right?
Yes.
So if you take that money and buy the home that you want, which is real estate, right? Now you have the opportunity to build what we just talked about, equity. Right?
Equity, yeah.
And then you build equity in a property that you own and you like, and that makes more sense, in my opinion, dealing with the generational wealth piece.
Ooh, so I'm gonna add a real life story to that. Why should you, or why people buy real estate at every duty station? Like you said, it's kind of hard when you got a certain size family. You go to one duty station, another, and you gotta wait. You're on a wait list. But a safer instance, you piggyback around at a duty station that you already have a piece of property at. You're not waiting. As long as you give the renters enough amount of time to move out and stay within your legal means, you have a property that you can move into instantly, and you don't have to incur those credit card bills or those hotel bills that get you, because they surely overcharging on hotels nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, if I don't got a kitchen or oven in this thing, I'm not paying $160 a night. That don't make no sense. So it's imperative that you start thinking about real estate formula of when you get in, or when you get old enough, or when you want to do it, because it can help you in the long run. And also, what helps you with real estate, tax benefits.
Tax benefits, that's huge.
Depending on who's in office or what state you're in, you get a home buyer's credit.
Homeowners exemption.
Exactly.
Homestead exemption.
Exactly. So you get an exemption or a credit where they give you this much to go towards your house, or they give it to you liquid. I don't know for sure, but we'll break that down for more. It's the tax benefits. The tax benefits in this particular part of real estate, it's just very good. You just have to sit down and educate yourself. So that's one of the things right there. But I wanted to ask, besides real estate, Sly, what else can we do to build generational wealth?
So, I've heard a lot of different stories when it comes to this, right? But one of the ones that make the most sense for me, one of the ones that sound a lot more lucrative, but it's a long-term situation, though. You know what I'm saying? It's a long-term piece to that, and it's investing in stocks, right? And if any of you listen to this, you probably have watched a crap ton of YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. You probably watched a crap ton of snippets, TikTok videos, etc. Right?
Of course.
And you always hear somebody telling you what stock to buy, stock market, Wall Street, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So, to me, what I'm looking at is, if all these other guys are doing this, why not us? Right? Military gives us a lot of amount of money, and why can't we jump into that particular piece, right? So investing in stocks, from what I've seen, can help you generate a lot of wealth, right?
Okay.
For the long haul. Remember, this is a long haul. This is not nothing short, right? So you want to be prepared for the long haul. So with that being said, who's some big people that we know that are always in the limelight when it comes to the stock market?
Ooh, I got one person. Everybody knows him. If you don't, I don't know where you at. Warren Buffett.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm gonna explain to him. I seen its benefits of being the investor instead of the owner. So you gotta really catch me here. So the owner of Coca-Cola got paid $50 million 1 year.
Ooh.
$50 million. Trust me, that's a lot. I'll take that anyway. I'll be a CEO or whatever. But the investor, Warren Buffett, received $580 million from Coca-Cola. So it's benefits to this. You gotta really know. Like you said, you use the social media apps or the YouTube videos to your benefit and actually educate yourself. Because I'm not going to lie to you. The YouTube University or YouTube Academy is quite lethal. Quite lethal on educating you. I hate this day and age with the smart tech and how fast that you can put information out there. You can do that, which is good. So that's what I say. Warren Buffett is one of the guys I've been looking at for a long time. And as you can see, him being an investor, he started investing maybe young. I mean, if I can recall, maybe 9 or 10 or 12. Remember, he has investment knowledge from 9 to like, I know he's maybe 60, 70 now. And that's a lot of knowledge. And he's getting paid. He got paid from Coca-Cola $580 million. The benefits of being an investor. What you got to say about that, Sly?
So let's look up Warren Buffett, right? So as I pulled up Warren Buffett on this wonderful Google, right? As of right now, Warren Buffett is 92 years old.
92.
He was born in 1930. His net worth is $112.3 billion. Right? Now, I'm not telling you, and I'm not going to say we're going to make $112.3 billion. You know what I'm saying? But what that does say to me is this. He's a savvy individual as far as he started early. And that's one of the major things that we want to touch on. One of the reasons why we really are speaking in this podcast is because if we want to get you early and often, right? We want to get you this knowledge so you know. The sooner, the better. Somebody had a saying, and I can't tell you who it is right offhand, but I heard this a couple of times, that the best time to invest is now. Mm-hmm. Okay? Or the best time to invest was yesterday, right? So with that being said, if we want to have, money, cash flow, wealth, similar to a Warren Buffett, you got to get on the game now. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop playing. You know what I'm saying? You got to go ahead and buckle down and make the right decisions in these investments.
Long-term growth. Remember that. Whoever's living long-term growth. He's been doing that for a while. Long-term growth. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good. You good. Yeah. One of the things that I've always heard when it comes to stocks is that if you don't know what to invest in, right? Like say you just kind of curious, you still green on it, and you ain't totally educated on it. They said many, many times throughout multiple podcasts and multiple TV shows is that go to a mutual fund. Just start loading up on that mutual fund. And that mutual fund, what is that mutual fund, right? A mutual fund is a collective amount of stocks, right, that span the entire market, or it spans a niche, or spans a certain sector of the market.
Is that the S&P 500?
It could be S&P, it could be the Dow Jones, it could be all of those wonderful little acronyms and names that we don't always talk about, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
But this is information for you guys out here that are listening to this podcast, so you can go ahead and start researching and doing your own research, especially because this is not financial advice, and I want to say that right out the gate. But this is an opportunity to listen to the information from some individuals who have been in the market, have the experience, and have the background to tell you and to say to you that these are some good opportunities for you to jump on, right? Now, the mutual fund piece, getting out there, getting a good mutual fund, and taking that mutual fund and just throwing money into it as best as you can, right? And just letting it grow and grow and grow and grow, and just staying patient. And I think that's one of the major things that a lot of people don't take in consideration is the patience when it comes to investing in stocks.
The patience is key, and what he's trying to say is take a small amount, maybe 5% from each or 10%, depending on how well your finances are, from each check or from a monthly income, and invest it into the mutual funds. Just don't even think about it. Have the money already come out so you don't touch it, and by the time when you do need something, you have a big amount in the stock that's actually earning more, because I believe stocks, the more you put in, the more you kind of get back, right? So the more you put in coming, and also what I notice about stocks are a good way to battle inflation. And we all know right now we're suffering from high inflation. But when high inflation comes, companies' earnings always rise as well. So stocks is a great way to battle inflation. So diversifying your portfolio is key to pretty much everything. You're trying to battle what? You're trying to battle inflation. You're trying to create generational wealth. It's many things you can do. So that's to say that's the good part about stocks. And like you said, and also having the ownership stake in a company.
That is a damn good question. So what is compound interest, right? Here's a definition that I got for compound interest. Compound interest is the interest you earn on interest. This can be illustrated by using basic math. If you have $100 and it earns, say, 5% interest each year, you'll have $105 at the end of your first year. At the end of your second year, you'll have $110.25. So what does that really say, right? What that says is if you had $100 that you put into the stock market and you're getting 5% interest, you're getting $5 right out the gate. $5 if you leave it there and it has a 5% interest rate, you're getting $5 free.
I'll take it any day.
You know what I'm saying? $5 free. And then the next year, you're going to double that plus 25 cents.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Now, this is free money. And I think that's something that, all our listeners need to know about. You know what I mean? That's free money. That money just sitting there. You know what I'm saying? That they're giving you money on top of money.
Yep. And you got to, I think a lot of things that kind of hinder some people is the fear factor.
Fear factor.
Like, you got to think, your money sitting in the bank ain't doing too much for you.
There we go.
I had to learn that the hard way. Just thinking, like, if I put this much money in here, it'll help me out. No. You got to put your money somewhere else you really want. A high yield savings account, a mutual fund, an index fund. And an index fund actually earns 8 to 10% annually.
Right. But check this out, though. Where do you find these high yield bank accounts? And like, what companies? Like, where can I get a high yield bank account?
As of right now, I can say American Express.
Okay.
Apple.
All right.
Okay. Certain institutions have high yield bank accounts. You just got to go look for it. Far as like, if you're in the service, 9 times out of 10 you're with a credit union.
Okay.
A credit union will have that option. Will it be as lucrative? You might earn like 3%. And I believe Apple right now, as I've seen, they came out with a high yield savings account with no minimum balance. They believe 4.1 or 4.7. Don't quote me on that. I got to look at that. I'm just going off memory. But it's just, these are the things that you want to put your money in. These are the accounts you want to put your money in because you want your money to work for you. And the thing about these wealthy people, the money works for them. They don't work for the money. So like I said, they put it in an asset or they put it in a stock that does the work for them.
So for all my service members out there, right? What was explained to you, or what options do you have, or what programs do you have that you could easily get into, a stock market situation? TSP, right? So TSP is a thrift savings plan.
Yep.
That's literally what it's called, thrift savings plan. And that thrift savings plan, you have an opportunity there to get some good information and get yourself into that thrift savings plan. The sooner the better is always what we talk about, right? The sooner the better. That thrift savings plan, if you go ahead and start investing in there, day one, right? Day one, when you come off a boot camp, the footprints, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you start investing in that, that's where you're going to see the biggest growth and the biggest opportunity. So for my military folks, if you haven't jumped on that, I guarantee you that is that's the hidden secret to a lot of people in the military generating a lot of wealth.
I totally believe it. I think Sly told me about you use the TSP to purchase a house or for a down payment for a house. I did not know that capability of the TSP. Like, I didn't understand the TSP. Nobody broke it down to me. But at the same time, you got to go looking for it, asking the right questions. But sometimes you just don't know. But I believe the TSP could be beneficial in so many ways. Am I a guy that pushes the TSP? No. But I believe everything has their benefits. Until you learn more, until you find out more, until you find out something else, then you can transfer do whatever. But a TSP, look into that. You first coming in, you want to put money away into your TSP because, like Sly told me, he used the TSP to do this and do certain things, and you can with this TSP you could transfer your funds to the G, the C, the S, the I, and all that. But we will break that down in later episodes. But the TSP is beneficial. You just got to educate yourself. Educate yourself. Now, for all this, for the next one, what we want to talk about is something that probably touches us a little bit more, is the benefits of having good credit in the military. Now,
what is good credit first? What is good credit?
Well, it used to be from 700 to a 750, then all of a sudden it went 750 to 850, I believe, right? To a good credit score. So I'll say you're fair in the 600s, maybe the high 600, 650 to 690. You're fair. In the 700s, you're looking more greenish.
All right. So based on good old Google, FICO defines a good credit score as one that falls between 670 and 739, whereas anything above 800 is considered exceptional. FICO scores between 580 and 669 are considered fair, and those between 740 and 799 are very good. So good old Google kind of gave us an idea on that. Now, when you talk about credit, right, there's so many different facets and pieces of credit and ways to generate credit and ways to define credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do know that a credit score is a measurement of how you pay your bills to a certain degree, right? And how you manage somebody giving you credit.
Yes.
So when you look at it, do you have to have good credit to get real estate or get a home?
You can have fair credit.
Okay, you can have fair credit.
You can have fair credit. I believe you got to understand a credit report evaluates the risk on you. That's how banks evaluate. Like, is this person gonna pay the loan back, or are we gonna end up foreclosing, or are we gonna end up? It's many things. So you can have a fair credit score and still get a house. Let's get that out of there. You don't have to have a great credit score. What's the odds of everybody having a great credit score? Not really that high, but at the same time, everybody's situation is different. So having a fair credit score will get you in the door. Now, having a great credit score, you're accessible to lower interest rates. And what I mean is, you get a loan for $400,000, and the interest rate is maybe 2%, 3%. Those are the golden rates of interest rates.
But if you got bad credit, what kind of interest rate we looking at?
You might be looking from 7 to 10.
There we go.
7 to 10, depending on what. If you're just a first time, so that's why we will go over structuring a credit report. But like I said, with fair credit scores will get you in the door. You can do a lot with a fair credit score. You just don't know. You just have to educate yourself. You can do a lot with a great credit score. You can do only so much with a bad credit score. Remember what I tell you, a credit score is the way they measure risk when they're trying to give you money or applying for credit cards.
That's a great point. And also look at it from this perspective, just to be in layman's terms. When you're talking about risk and you talk about credit, for example, let's talk about a car.
Yes.
Right? So most of you out there, you're either you're young or you're mid-range or whatever the case may be, right? And you see this wonderful car that you want to go grab, right? Everybody sees a dream car when they first get into service,
Ooh,
right?
Yeah, the Mustang.
Exactly. Mustangs, Corvettes, etc., right? Big trucks. So what you look at is when you go in there and you want to finance that car, right? They're giving you money. Some bank or some lender is going to give you money to get that car. And then they're going to give you a credit score. They're going to give you a APR that comes with that. Now, what that APR is really saying is a percentage of how much you pay per month is going to go to them, Period, point blank. So you got your principal and you got your interest. That's where that interest comes into play.
Yes.
Right? If you have a good credit score, you're gonna have lower interest and you're gonna pay less to those individuals, that lender. But if you have a high interest, then that lets you know that you probably have bad credit because you're a higher risk.
Exactly.
And being a higher risk means that you're paying more for a car.
Yes.
So, for example, I might pay maybe $400 a month extra for a car, whereas Zach might be paying $700 extra for a car, over the life of a loan. So when you look at credit, good credit, bad credit, good credit puts you in a position to pay less and you become a less riskier option, a less riskier client towards the lender. And that's why good credit is extremely important. Because why we buy the same car, I'm paying less than he's paying when it comes to paying back that loan.
Exactly.
So for all you you youngins out there, think about that when you're out there trying to purchase your dream car. If that interest rate is 8, 12, 15%, you might want to rethink that, right? Because that's going to factor into how much you have to pay out a month. That's going to also factor in how much money comes out your pocket. That's also going to factor in how risky you are as a human being.
Invest in some Lamborghinis. If you don't know what Lamborghinis is, that means walk. That's what you want to do. You really want to walk. If you go there and they run it and they run that credit, and then they come back with 12% APR, 13%, go ahead, take that L, walk back out, take that bus back to where you're going, and figure out how can you structure your credit report. So one thing I want to throw out there is you got your consumer credit report, which is your credit cards, retail cards, and all that. Then you got your mortgage credit report. This is what they use to give you a loan to buy a house. It's two different credit reports. And also to expand on what he's saying about good credit is you got more negotiating power.
There we go.
You got more negotiating power. The thing is, you want to walk to wherever you want to walk and be like, hey, I got this, I want this, and they accommodate you. Instead of them like, hey, you begging and be like, hey, well, what can you do for me? And they got you. Once they know they got you on their fingertips, and that's when they can squeeze little fees and higher APRs out of you. So you gotta understand. And also, easier approval for loans. You gotta
definitely.
I hate to say it, when you go into a financial institution, a lender, and you ask for this much, and let's just say you pop out with an 820 credit score, they ain't gonna say they're not gonna even look left, look right.
Okay, exactly. Okay, so here's my question now. All right, so you talked about real estate, so we talked about houses and stuff like that, right? So, and then after we talked about those houses, we talked about investing stocks, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Long term growth, and we know we got to be patient for that. Now, and we own this good credit piece, right?
Yep.
So now we're talking about the good credit and how it can get us the car and all this stuff that we want, right? But what else do I have to have if I want to get this car and I want to get this house? How do I protect myself in any of these situations if something goes crazy?
Well, this is the bread and butter right here. How do you protect yourself if something happened to you and you don't pass on debt to others? This is what I called good old life insurance. So, for the people out there listening, you got to think. We have to be realistic. Things happen unexpectedly. I don't care. Things happen unexpectedly. God forbid, if the top earner in your house, you talk to him, you talk to her, everything's okay. Next thing you know, you're getting a call. You're getting a notification stating that, that your significant other is critically hurt, passed away. It's a sad part in everybody's story that we have to think about. And you really got to think. You're not thinking about it at that moment because the loved one is hurt. The loved one is probably passed away. You're not thinking about it at the moment. But what happens? Real life creeps back into that situation where bills start to come up. The mortgage start to come up. those fees that your kids, the school tuition starts to come up. It's everything that you have to think about. And what's the best thing to do? Prepare. I know you're going to hate me saying this. Is to prepare yourself for when a situation like this happens. You have to be ready. Now, I'm gonna get into a story of mine real quick, right? So, at 17, my mom's passed away, pancreatic cancer, and I noticed that my sister was literally draining her bank account for the funeral, for the pain meds, everything she did before she passed away. My sister was funding pretty much everything. And that took a toll on her. And what I'm trying to get at here is, if my mom knew about, I had a certain type of life insurance. When you critically get hurt like that, when you're passing away, you get a critical illness, your life insurance policy can pay you out early. And you can use that money for medical bills, funeral costs, paying out debts. So this is one of the main things I will harp on is life insurance. Now you're probably thinking, like, how we get from life insurance from generational wealth? Well, we're going to expound on that. We go hit a little bit of that, but further down the line. First part about life insurance is the financial protection. Now, let's think about it. I'm going to get another scenario with you. This is going to get real deep real quick. Something happens to you, but your significant other and you do not have a great relationship with your families in maybe in Maryland, in North Carolina, in Nevada, wherever you're from. You don't have a great relationship with your families. Then your significant other is forced to go live with somebody until they get back on their feet. And we all know how those situations, you understand, Sly?
Yeah,
we all know we all know how those situations can handle. Like people can be evil. People from your family can be evil, talk mess about you, just don't like you. They want to say everything about you under the sun and want to be vindictive and try to control you because you're living in that house due to your situation. To avoid that, we have to protect ourselves. You have to think about your significant one, your significant other, and the little loved ones that you created with your significant other. So you have to think about that. Because life insurance is a big piece. I'm going real deep in this. So it's financial protection. Meaning, when I'm talking about financial, it means income replacement. Income replacement meaning, hey, something happens to the significant person, cool. You get a payout. You can pay off the house, you can pay off the car, and you're good. Your family's protected. Now they have a roof over their head. Regardless, somebody can get a job like the other and cover utilities. I will say, Sly, it's easier covering utilities than a mortgage.
That is true.
It's easier to cover. It's so easy to do that. So you have to really think about the unexpected. Then we have a lot of things. Estate planning. We can go into that, which I know estate scares the word of certain people. Meaning, I don't have an estate. When I mean just by estate, I'm using it loosely. I mean just by protecting your house, passing your house down, keeping it protected so it can stay in your family. If you got a good piece of property, you want to keep it in the family. Regardless of what you're saying, like we went back to the real estate. You want to keep your house in the family. We'll never know when your family might need it or want to rent it out or make it or sell it. You never know. The situations come up. Then tax benefits. Everybody, what's the tax benefits of life insurance? The death benefit is tax free. Meaning she get that big $1 million settlement. It's tax free. She has $1 million.
And that's a good point. So we talked about, life insurance and protecting yourself. Protection is the one word that I heard from you.
Yes.
Right? So in insurance, is there other protection pieces to the insurance? So let's go to good old Google, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking up Google. Not only do you have life insurance,
Yep.
you got auto insurance,
Yep.
you got homeowners insurance,
Yep.
you got renters insurance.
Yep.
Heck, you even got health insurance.
Yep.
So insurance in itself, right? And those are just a couple of them that we're talking about. And eventually we'll go into those later on in a different form, in a different scenario. But these insurance, they provide that protection just in case some ish happens, right?
Yes.
And that's really what insurance really comes down to, just in case some ish happens. Most people always talk about, man, I've been paying on these insurance premiums forever and a day and I don't get no kickback from it. No, you don't, until the ish happens. Now, when that ish happens, then you will see the benefit, the protection, the support, from a financial perspective, and maybe in some other areas that can now help you, right, take care of that situation and maybe some other situations down the line.
Before we go too far, I wanted to elaborate where there are some life insurance policies that you could generate cash value to use for investing. But I just want to say that real quick, but I'll swing it back to Slider to do his thing on the other insurances. Like you said, you got health insurance, you got renter insurance. Health insurance can happen. Something happens, those medical bills are crazy. But then again, some of those health insurance companies, they don't want to cover everything.
So that's where we come into our service members, right?
Yep.
So you have, as a service member, you have some really freaking great insurance,
Yes.
right? When it comes to that health insurance, right? We all know that when one of our kids or ourselves need to go and get a procedure done, right? We don't pay for it. We don't pay a dime for it unless we have a copay, right?
Yes.
So we get really great benefits from that particular piece. And you got to leverage that particular piece because for a lot of the individuals who are not connected to the service or the government, they pay a higher premium, almost double, triple, or quadruple the amount to have some of the basic necessities in order for that health insurance piece. Now, we also going to sit back and talk about that car that you just bought, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you insure that car you just bought? Auto insurance, right? Anytime there's a wreck that happens, anytime somebody steals your car, anytime somebody breaks in your car, right? You have auto insurance to cover you and help you. So for all of my people out there, right? And this is some stuff that you probably already know, right? If you're driving around, if you're of an age to where you're out on your own, these are all insurances that you should already be well aware of, right? And being well aware of those, are you leveraging them right way? Are you making sure that you have these insurances?
Yes.
And don't ever look at insurance as just an expenditure or a bill or something that might not be useful or needed, right? Some of this stuff is by law. You have to have it by law.
Certain states say you gotta have car insurance.
That is very true. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at these insurances, even though the phrase is just in case ish happens, always make sure that you're taking in consideration that ish can happen at any point in time.
Correct.
So you don't want to sit there and negate or neglect, these opportunities that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Now that we kind of covered the real estate piece, right? You got a house, right? Then we talked about how you do some long-term investing in order to build that generational wealth, right? Then we talked about, hey, how do we get to that house and how do we leverage that particular stuff? Well, we need good credit, right? So we need that credit to get us to those spots, right? Mm-hmm. Now that we've built these different pieces to our foundation, we got a house, we're investing in stocks, we're working on our credit is getting better and better by the day, we're paying our bills, we're being disciplined. We're talking about that insurance to make, just in case ish happens, right? House burns down, You lose a loved one, right? Now, let's jump into one of the things that I think is probably one of the most important parts of our segment here. Let's talk about having a good, qualified partner.
Woo! Say that again.
A good, qualified partner.
That's what you need.
Right? So we're out here, we're living our life, we've built up all of this wonderful stuff, right? How do we choose a good partner? What are some of the indications? What should we be looking for? Are we looking for a partner? Or are we not? And if so, where do we find that partner?
Well, that is a great question. So, what are some of the indicators of a great partner? Well, they gotta have drive. I think that. They gotta have drive. A person that has drive, you can feed off their energy. She can feed off your energy.
Or
vice
he.
versa, or he, or however it may be. Like, you gotta feed each other's off each other's energy. Now, another indicator, where are they at in life? Granted, some people may be in the starting phases. Some people may be in the middle phases. Some people may be at the pinnacle. So it all depends on where you are in life, where you're going to pick this person at. And now where you should look, so let's be honest, you can't go looking for a qualified partner in a bar, right?
Nope.
You can't go look at a qualified partner in a strip club.
There we go.
You can't look at a qualified partner in a twerk contest.
Oh.
Or you don't want to look at a qualified partner that's you just gotta really think. Now, I'm not saying twerk contests are bad. I'm just saying, like, if you see a person that's gravitating more towards their self-development and they over here partying, who would you pick? It's good to party sometimes, but at that point in time that you're choosing a partner in life, you got a person that's, gravitating towards their success a little bit harder than this person over here, who would you pick, Sly?
Yep. And you got a good point. You got a good point. Now, we do understand everybody has different requirements for a qualified partner.
Yes.
We understand that everybody is individual in their own right, and they look for different things in a qualified partner. But some of the things I would want to just touch on, right? Whatever partner you choose, right? That partner, you have to really think about how in depth and how deep that relationship can go. Because that partner is an extension or a reflection of yourself.
Yes.
So if you look at that partner and that partner is totally contradictory to the things that you view or that you value, then that's probably a red flag, right? Also, with a qualified partner, do they understand where you are at in life? And are they on the same page as you? Now, everybody talks about, we were friends first and then we became more than friends and all of that good stuff. But for my military members, all right, when you first got into service, you and I both know going through boot camp, we did a lot of things. Going through A schools or going through AITs or going through any military structure school, you're going to run across a couple, 2-3 people that you just feel that at that moment, things are gelling, things are working.
MOS school.
MOS school.
Yeah.
Things could possibly be the best thing since sliced bread. But you're going to grow. You're going to mature.
Say that again.
You're going to grow and you're going to mature. And you have to take in consideration that this person, now, whomever it may be, they have to be able to meet you with that growth kicks in. They have to be able to be on the same page as you when that maturity kicks in. Because not only does that person is there with you throughout this process, are they understandable to what your goals and your the things you're trying to accomplish? Because now that person is going to become a part of your financial responsibility. That person now is going to become a part of your spiritual responsibility. That person is going to be a part of your everyday functional lifespan.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but let's just use the term marry. Once you marry a person, you marry that family.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, you marry a person, you marry their family. So like the point he said, like you got to see where the head's at mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Because if she's emotionally sound,
Or he.
or he, you gotta think like, all right, what's the background about? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta educate yourself. Like, what are their family like? Do they have good family values? Because you may be a traditional person, and you want tradition in your family.
And they may be spontaneous, and they want to just be very random with the stuff that they do.
Exactly.
So sitting down and really evaluating that, because then it comes into, and this is just for my American viewers, right? So when you start getting into the marital space, right? When you start signing contracts, right? Start putting names on things and doing joint ventures. Now it gets into the business realm, the financial realm, right? And that financial realm, as we talk about generational wealth, we start talking about assets, and those assets, real estate, stocks, and even some insurance policies.
Yes.
Do you truly trust that person? Is that person truly on the same page and the wavelength as you? So your relationship carries over into your generational wealth and your financial responsibilities.
Yep.
So this is where we are just talking about making smart, effective, thorough, detailed, and conscious decisions when it comes to that significant other. Because if you build up your nest egg and you bust your butt and you've acquired a numerous amount of things that really reflect you as being fiscally responsible, you don't want to bring somebody into a situation that's going to take all that away from you. Everything you've built up over time, right? Or you don't want to be miserable in a situation, right? So what we are suggesting is this: through all of these fiscal and financial and general wealth tidbits that we're saying, you got to have a great partner, and that great partner has to be on the same page as you. So in order to sustain and hold on to the things that you've built over this period of time, you got to have a partner that has some of the same values and the same things that you are both interested in when it comes to that particular piece.
Ooh, that's crucial, because give your like he said, you're gonna grow and you're gonna mature, and when you grow and you mature, you make better decisions. It happens, and when everybody's younger, they make emotional decisions. And it's like on that rapid fire machine gun sound. Emotional decision. I'm gonna do this. I want to do that. And do that. Then when you get older, you look back like, why did I even do that?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why did I buy that? Why did it? I'm here with this person. Why did we even do that? Why did I even think that was okay? It is so much that he's saying you're going to grow and you're going to mature, and you got to really vet the person you're going to be with. Because like I said, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But you want to go far, you're going to be with somebody.
There we go. Teamwork make the dream work.
that's literally, you really have to do that. So like Sly is saying, just think about your decision. Think about, all right, I'm going to wake up to this person every day. So we just want to make sure you know that almost every decision you make is going to impact the future.
Especially the future.
Yeah, and so you got to really think about, be conscious on your decisions now, make less emotional, more logical decisions, and we go on from there. But I just want to say thank you for listening in to the DI and Doc series. Like I said, this is going to be a series of all the subjects where we're going to cover all things about finance, relationships, and opportunities. And we didn't even tap into that, the opportunities of being in the service, or what you can do, or what you ought to do, this, that, and the other. So just want to say thank you for tuning in for the DI Doc series. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Yut.